What's up, everybody? It's an Insider Ties. I think it's episode 123 or 124. I don't know, but that's not important. We don't have a whole lot of time. We do have a lot of time. I could talk as long as I want, but I don't want to bore you guys. So let's get to what I'm getting into today. Let's get into what I'm getting into today. That doesn't make sense. The sneaker startup, Allbirds, received a $50 million investment. Now, I had this big kind of script just kind of ready, and I've been planning things out of how I was going to approach this and talk about it. But what I think I want to do is focus on the idea of introducing to sneakerheads and people in the sneaker culture who overlook potential opportunities because they tend to focus solely on buying Nike or buying Adidas or buying Puma, and they don't realize that they could actually create something that's worth considerable value. Now, how do I have the right to say that? Let's look at the history here. Allbirds. Most of you have never heard of the company. It's really big in Silicon Valley. A lot of the people that are on the West Coast are wearing the shoes. I actually ran into a guy in the airport, a lawyer who worked with venture capitalists, who was wearing the shoes. I've always known about the shoes for one particular reason, and here's some of my history to get into what we're going to talk about. Allbirds was not always Allbirds. This is the Kickstarter platform. 4 years ago, February 27, 2014, a company called 3/7 launched a Kickstarter. Now, I had the serious misfortune of launching a Kickstarter on the same day. If you notice, that was February 27 when 3/7 funded. Arch, my company, my shoe company, we funded on February 28th. Now, the reason I say I have the misfortune of showing up at the same time as this company is they didn't really, the product that they had, when I initially saw it, I was like, these dudes are just taking a Roshi run and making it out of wool. I was not blown away by it, and I was like, I'm doing something that's fitness related. I was a runner. I did my video, and I did all these different things. I had already been making my shoes since 2009, but there was a big difference. I funded at 46 backers and $3,000. I went with athletics, performance. 3/7 said they were going to allow you to do performance, but they were going to make it with a wool shoe. This was not about what people are seeing now. So who is 3/7? It's the exact same people that made Allbirds. So I'm stammering a little bit because, like I said, I'm off script already. I decided to just throw that to the side and just get into this. So how is it that Allbirds managed to nab a $1.4 billion valuation on a shoe that's basically a Roshi run made out of wool? Well, they completely switched it and they went to sustainability. A lot of the people that are in the sneaker community, we want to enter into this market. Now, like I said, I went the performance route. And I gave people my history on Amazon, the fact that I had a 5-star store, the highest ratings. More important, when we did this Kickstarter, when I started, what typically happens with Kickstarter is if there are two things in the same category and they launch basically on the same day, the one that gets the most funding, I didn't show you how much they funded at, so let's go backwards here. They funded at 970 backers at $119,000. They actually hit this goal in 5 days. It took me an entire month to get to my goal of $3,446. And I'm laughing because in my head, I thought I was going to win this race. Now on Kickstarter, when another company hits a goal really quickly, it pushes other projects in the same category down further on the line. But what 3/7 did, and this is the funny thing, when you go to the comments and you look at the information that's here, they had a lot of customer service issues. When you go to my comments and my information, there's none. I actually built my shoe. I got my project. I was the quickest shipped project on Kickstarter for footwear. I shipped within a month and a half of actually funding. Allbirds didn't ship until months after it was done. Now you could say it was a lot of shoes, but there's a lot that goes on with that. I'm sounding bitter. Let's move on. All right, so how did they get to this $1.4 billion valuation? Now, that doesn't mean that they're necessarily worth 1.4 billion. They simply had enough investors come in at a certain amount that it puts the company at this value. Well, they went with a sustainability model and they changed the name to Allbirds. They got away from 3 over 7. They shifted to Allbirds. It's no longer a New Zealand company where it was a New Zealand company. Over here at 3 over 7, it's now a US based company out of California. So they moved, they got funding, and now they're continuing to grow. But they're also moving from pure play, which is strictly online, to brick and mortar. So with the idea that Allbirds has created this sustainable shoe, they also did something that's really important, and this is what the point is. When you come down here to this section of this article on the Fashion Network, you'll see that they researched eco-friendly materials and they're outsourcing the information that they have to the rest of the industry. So what you're going to have is Allbirds being worth this amount of money because they're going to license out the technology, which isn't technology. It's just the fact that they created a foam made out of sugar. And this is what made them grow. In contrast, I went with performance, something that was already done before. I didn't do anything original. My company died. Their company exploded. Another important point, and I'm going to wrap this up. If you are really serious about starting a company and getting into the footwear business, be focused on that business and make sure you stick with your guns and do something that's not quite been done before. Other people can be sustainable, but you have to do it a little bit different and better and stick with it. I didn't do that. I flopped. Allbirds took off like a rocket. That's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to put it up. See what you think. Peace.